Chapter 20, Martial Skills Pavilion. Wu Hui didn't expect his grandfather to issue a gag order. Of course, the revelation of your fire attribute awakening will happen sooner or later, but the later it is, the better. It would be best if you could refine a pill on your own before it's exposed. Even if it's not revealed at that time, it will eventually be. Wu Hai paused, his expression becoming complicated. He continued, as for your uncles, your grandfather, as a congenital powerhouse, can still suppress them. They wouldn't dare to speak. Is refining pills difficult? The mention of alchemy ignited a fervor within Wu Hui. In the Wu family, ordinary disciples would receive a pill approximately every 6 months, while outstanding disciples could obtain one every 3 months. Wu Hui had benefited greatly from consuming some pills in the past, but when he reached the 9th star of the yellow stage, the top-grade pill refined by Elder Hai no longer had any effect. For this, you'll need to ask Elder Hai. The family has already arranged for Elder Hai to teach you alchemy. Once your cultivation at the 1st star of the mysterious stage is completely stable, you can go to him to learn alchemy. My cultivation is already stable. I want to start learning alchemy tomorrow. Wu Hui was highly committed to alchemy. Alchemists were highly respected and esteemed throughout the entire martial Qi continent. Fire attribute cultivators, in particular, were exceedingly rare. Ah! Your cultivation has stabilized. Wu Hai's hand suddenly grasped Wu Hui's arm, and after a brief examination, his face filled with immense surprise. Stable aura, solid martial qi. Indeed, you have reached the 1st star of the mysterious stage. In less than a day, you have already consolidated your cultivation. Could it be that your cultivation speed from before the age of 8 has returned? Wu Hai was astonished and delighted. Then I'll go find Elder Hai tomorrow to learn alchemy. Wu Hui wanted to learn alchemy. He knew that he had awakened his fire attribute through practicing the 5 elements technique. Although it seemed like a secondary attribute, Wu Hui knew that his fire attribute could be strengthened. If the fire martial qi in his body was perfected, it would be equivalent to his current Wu attribute, a dual primary attribute. As the 5 elements were perfected, it was possible to achieve mastery in all 5 primary attributes. Therefore, Wu Hui had great confidence in becoming a 3rd rank or higher alchemist in the future. While alchemy is important, don't you want to learn a martial technique first? Wu Hai shook his head, looking somewhat helpless. Tomorrow, go to the martial skills pavilion. You have already reached the mysterious stage, and learning a martial technique will greatly benefit your strength. After all, on this continent, strength is paramount. Strength is paramount. Hearing his father repeat this phrase, Wu Hui's gaze narrowed slightly, recalling Su Qingxue's utterance of the same words during the day. However, his father's words were filled with concern for him, while Su Qingxue's were meant to humiliate him. Wu Hui nodded and looked at the setting moon in the west, silently saying to himself, 3 years, Qingyun sect, Su Qingxue, wait for me. The next day, the sky was just starting to brighten in Xinxi City. In the Wu family's martial arts training ground, many young disciples were already practicing there. The training ground was divided into 2 parts, the east and the west. In the east, there were younger disciples, mostly below the age of 15, including some children who appeared to be 7 or 8 years old. These disciples had cultivations below the mysterious stage. In the west, the disciples with cultivations at the mysterious stage and above were practicing. Most of them were over 15 years old, with only a few who appeared to be 12 or 13 years old. The fact that these few individuals had broken through to the mysterious stage at such a young age showed their extraordinary talent. The east and west training grounds were separated by a 5-story building. They couldn't see each other. The building, covering a large area of about 10 zhang in length and width, was 5 or 6 zhang high. It had an ancient and elegant style, making it the tallest and most important structure in the Wu family. Martial Skills Pavilion. At this moment, a young man in a green robe was standing at the entrance of the Martial Skills Pavilion. He had a tall and straight figure, a handsome face, and clear and bright eyes. He was currently looking up at the golden characters on the top of the pavilion that spelled Martial Skills Pavilion. The young man didn't know how long he had been standing there until he heard a light footsteps behind him. He turned his head and saw a smaller figure. The person who came was a young girl. She was wearing a flowing floral dress and had a petite and lovely appearance. There were 2 shallow dimples on her pretty face, making her incredibly cute. "Kerr, why are you here?" "Brother Wu Hui, I also want to learn a martial technique." The young man in the green robe was indeed Wu Hui, and the girl who came was his sister, Kerr. This chapter comes to an end. If you enjoy the works of Changfeng Bookhouse, please follow, like, and bookmark. Your support is my motivation.